sucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region today. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. We have a great lineup today. And if you'll notice, we're going to be celebrating Chinese New Year. So I have my Chinese New Year jacket on. So we are doing that. We've got a great lineup today. This is January the 11th, and we will be filming with our 5 segments today. Our first segment will be Musicians of Malwick. We're going to be talking about Romanian music, and we're talking about a snowball, Viennese ball, lots of great stuff coming up there with their events. And they're also at Beat the Snow. Then we're going to be talking about the Chinese New Year event coming up on January the 22nd. That will be at SUNY. So we're going to learn all about it and how you can get tickets to that as well. And of course, Story Circle is here, and they're doing word plays, and they are performing here at Proctors. We're going to hear about their theme that they're having, and Kate Dudding, as always, brings a great story with her. So we're going to be hearing that today as well. And downtown Schenectady is celebrating with their great soup stroll, and they have great soups, and you get to sample them and vote on them. And that's coming up on the 28th of, I believe the 28th, yes, of January. And then the Schenectady Historical Society, they're doing some really interesting speakers now, and I believe they got some of them are on Zoom. So you're going to be able to hear them, and we'll find out who those speakers are as well. And again, thank you for watching. And stay tuned here because we've got a great lineup. We're going to start right off with Musicians of Malwick. And our guests today are Anne-Marie Schwartz, and she is the director of Musicians of Malwick. And with her, she's brought a fabulous guy. We got Florin Vlad with us, and he is a ballroom dancer from Dance Fire Studios. And I danced with you once. You are an amazing dancer.
Yes, and you are an amazing dancer as well.
Well, we had fun anyway.
Yes.
Tell me, Anne-Marie, what's going on? Because you've got like 3 events right now. You're doing the Beat the Snow concert. You're doing the Musicians of Malwick, the Romanian music at the Dance Fire, and you're doing the Viennese.
We are indeed. So coming up this Sunday, the 15th, we have our annual Beat the Snow concert. We've been playing on that series since the first year. It's so much fun. It's a wonderful
And it's a
series.
free concert.
It's a free concert, 2 o'clock at the Schenectady County Public Library. Our program is called a musical travelogue. And as a tip of the hat to our Romanian program, we're playing some music of UNESCO. We're also doing music of Rossini, some Israeli music, so really traveling.
So you're kind of doing, if you're doing all of that, yeah.
And Scottish music.
Scottish, yes.
And
Are the
French
bagpipes going to be? No, you don't do the
No,
bagpipes.
no bagpipes, not this time. They're pretty loud for indoor.
I know they are. Yeah, we have them here, so I do understand. And Florin, you are doing the Romanian music at the Dance Fire Studio in Niskiuna.
Yes, we're going to be hosting the beautiful concert, and Marie and I came up with the idea because I'm Romanian, and you always hear about the most popular composers are not from Romania, so it's kind of like an under
the radar
music, but it's fabulous, and we like to bring it to our Capital Region audience.
Now, if you ask me to describe Romanian music, I would think it's a lively music.
It is indeed. So, for example, you have the Romanian Rhapsody by Enescu. It's our most famous piece.
Absolutely.
And our most famous composer. And that, I think, will be the featured moment of the performance of the concert. And also, we are bringing folk dancers, traditional Romanian folk dancers, to perform on that.
Now, these are not ballroom dancers.
They are not ballroom dancers. So that's why. So I'm a professional ballroom dancer.
I know you are.
I know some folk dancers, but these are legit professional folk dancers. They're flying in from Atlanta, where they reside at the moment, but they tour the country. I believe they tour extensively, performing at different concerts.
They're actually supported by the Romanian Cultural Heritage Foundation. And so they go all around the country, and I think even in Europe, representing the folk dances of Romania.
It's just going to be a very special and unique event.
I'm really happy that you're doing that, because it's like we don't hear a lot about Romanian music. We don't hear about Romanian dance. I mean, we hear about the Russian festival, we hear about the Chinese festival, the Italian, Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, exactly.
But we need to learn more about other countries and what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and this will be a great opportunity where we will blend in the music and the dancing, which are like very important artistic.
Who's doing the music?
Well, musicians on Maui,
You are.
yes.
You're doing.
We're functioning in between the dances. We're presenting Enescu and Dimitrescu and Ligeti and Ivanovici and something called the Budapest to Bucharest Express, which is a klezmer piece.
Okay.
So really the whole gamut of
And you're
music.
mainly string instruments, is that correct?
For this, we're string instruments and piano.
And piano. Okay,
Right.
good.
And then the dancers are dancing in between our musical sets. And then on the last one, we're combining forces. And I had initially thought, oh, we'll just accompany them. And then when they sent me the music, I thought, oh my goodness, this is really complex.
So they're going to use canned music.
Yes, and then on the last one, we'll do it along. But it's really virtuosic folk music. I was truly impressed. And
We're really going to get a taste of everything.
absolutely, and they'll be in traditional costume and changing for each region they're representing. So.
Right, and in Romania, it's a very specific. It's very specific, the costumes according to each region, and it's kind of, for example, I'm from Transylvania, which is the northwestern part of Romania. Our costumes and our traditions are very different from the southern part of Romania, for example, or from the eastern part of Romania. So it will be nice for the audience to see how the different parts of Romania
regions, yeah.
differ from each other, and as far as the dancing, as far as the costumes, I think it'll be another exciting thing for the audience to see.
I will ask you, because I know I'm Italian and my mother came from Italy, and she told me that, the regions are all different, and they have the different traditional, folk outfits and everything, and they speak differently. Is that the same thing in Romania? Do people have different dialects?
Different dialects, but they can still understand each other. It's not like in Italy. I know the north with the south, they're quite different. But in Romania, you can still understand each other. Although you can tell right away there's a few giveaways that will tell you, okay, this person is from Transylvania, this person is from Moldova, which is another region of Romania, and so on.
And just to give a shout out, that we were talking with Florin here, he is a professional ballroom dancer, but I must say he has won awards all over the world.
Yes.
Not the country. I mean, the country too,
Yes.
but the world.
Yes.
So this is really an outstanding ballroom dancer. But the Viennese, is he going to be teaching anything there?
Oh my, I'm doing more than teaching. He and his wife Natalia, who is his dance partner, will be performing a professional show.
They're amazing.
They are amazing. And we're going to be accompanying them to, I don't want to give away the piece because it's a really special piece, but it's going to be an unbelievable
This is at Canfield Casino.
Canfield Casino in Saratoga, which is this beautiful historic,
place.
very elegant building. It's perfect for the setting. We're playing waltz music all evening. We have a professional show in the middle with not just the ballroom dancing, but opera arias. And actually, we're going to be repeating the Romanian Rhapsody because it's just such a fabulous piece. Our composer, Max Kaplan, you remember Max, has written a new waltz, which is just in the tradition, just like they did it back in the 1870s with Johann Strauss Jr., writing a new waltz for each opening ball of the season. So we're really thrilled.
You do some amazing... there's so many things. Every time you come, it's like you've done something new, or you've just thought. You're so vibrant.
Well, I love music, and so and I want to share it with people and have them enjoy it like I do.
And she's a ballroom dancer too.
Yes,
not quite like Florin.
Yes, she is. And speaking of dancing, and in preparation for the ball, we're actually Dance Fire Studio is offering Viennese waltz classes at our studio in January. And they're starting
so you're going to get them started.
Thursday, yes. So if you would like to
We need to talk the dates now, because we didn't mention the dates. So.
For the ball?
Yeah.
So the ball is Saturday, February 18th, 6 to 11.
And they have to buy their tickets ahead of time. Includes dinner.
It includes dinner. It's a whole evening. It's really
outstanding.
Amazing. Wonderful, yes. And the waltz lessons start on Thursday.
It's a course tomorrow,
the 12th. And
so they can get ready for it.
There are 4 of them. I'd strongly recommend it because even though it looks easy. It's not
It's not
quite
easy.
as easy
I
as
took a lesson in Viennese waltz, and I was like, oh my, let me stick with the regular waltz.
We'll make sure we'll keep it fun and easy to learn, and at least you brush up on a few basic steps just in preparation for the ball, so then you can get yourself on the dance floor and enjoy yourself even more.
Exactly. You know, you don't have to be a ballroom dancer to enjoy yourself at a ballroom dance anyway.
Exactly.
But I also want to give you a little bit of a shout out. You're doing some social dancing now, lessons too, or evenings, right? At your dance fire too.
Exactly. We're actually excited. We're opening another location. We're very thrilled to be able to do that in Saratoga Springs, which is right across from Kenfield Casino on Phyla Street.
Okay.
And we're actually going to have a pre-party at our studio for the ball, in preparation
There you
for the
go.
ball.
I mean, you guys are working together. That's a really nice thing.
Yes.
It's synergistic.
Good. And if you want to hear some wonderful music, and especially the Romanian, I mean, not that, I'm just saying that the Romanian is really unusual.
It is.
So,
It is.
you know, if you want to hear that, that's at the Dance Fire. But if you want to dance the night away and see some wonderful ballroom dancing, you have to go to the Viennese ball. Was it Schnee, which means snow?
Snowball,
Snowball.
right. And I just want to shout out that the Austrian consulate has endorsed this as a recommended event. So I can't believe it, and I'm thrilled.
Hey, take it where you can, right?
Exactly.
Good. Have a wonderful time. It's
Thank
so
you
nice
so
to
much.
see you
Thank you.
both here.
Thank you so
Say
much.
hi to Natalia.
I will. I
Okay,
will.
good.
Thank you, Anne.
We're going to switch over. We went from Romania now. We're going over to China because, as I said, I'm wearing my Chinese jacket here that came from China. And I have you with us. And she is the president of the Chinese Community Center. They're located in Latham. And I went to your tea ceremony, and it was you are so smart.
It's great to have you as my guest when I'm doing the Kung Fu tea. And you know so much, and you really enjoy all the little details and the cultural involved. So let's just say, come to my house. Let's do another one.
Let's do another one.
Let's
Yes,
do
and
another
the
one.
washing of the tea and all that. I just loved it all. But one of the events I go to every year and have for I don't know how long, and we've filmed it and we've done so much, was the Chinese Community Center's Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year. And this is a big event. People
is.
in China go home for that, don't they?
Yes, they do. They do. So that is like part of the holiday tradition. That's what we call holiday tradition. The Chinese won't want to miss. So it's been many years, ever since the 1980s, China has New Year's Eve gala show, and it's one show nationwide. So in the New Year's Eve, the Chinese would sit with their family, have the feast, and look at the show. And then think about the competition. You know, all the movie stars, singers just want to squeeze into the show. And then if you're nobody,
This is
you're
like
in the show.
across China.
Across China. The next day, that person is a superstar. So that's really amazing. So even in the capital district area, so Chinese Community Center, we like to do an entertainment show, put on, so whatever the capital region talented person can offer to entertain people. And it's a great celebration to announce the new year.
Well, it is so great because when I've been there, they've done poetry, they played the guzheng, the different instruments
Yes.
that we aren't used to in this country.
Yeah.
So you get to see that. But the food, you also have food there usually, or
Usually,
I don't know if you
not
are
this
this year.
with the pandemic getting a little.
Yeah, I know,
But then I think next year,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they have a lot. The dancers and the young kids
Yes.
are amazing that come out there, and maybe they'll read poetry or they'll do something
Feel
all in
dance.
Chinese.
Yes. Well, I think the program, I'll separate in the three parts. The first part, as you said, the traditional part, like the instrument play or the Peking opera. We have the Peking opera performer right from China this year. It's amazing, you know, because we haven't been able to get any for the last 8-9 years. And then also the traditional dance, Mongolian dance, for example. So those are like the really traditional type of program. And then would be the modern part, like we got a 10 years old genius pianist play Chopin, and then we have just clarinet or like piano,
Music.
music and orchestra. And then we have children part, as you said, because we have Chinese school,
I know
our
you do.
Chinese
Yeah,
school.
that's wonderful.
It's a Sunday school. Every Sunday is in Shaker Junior
The
High School.
I've
And
been there, and the place is busy.
Absolutely
with rooms.
full.
All the rooms are going. It's like, what is going on
I mean,
here?
it's a big community because, it's like this year, even, now we're recovering from pandemic, we have over 300 students. Before pandemic, we had 400 students. And then with their parents, sometimes grandparents. So
and the
it's a
grandparents
lot of
come there sitting
classes.
there waiting. And it's an amazing
it's
place
a camp,
to be. Yeah.
But it's amazing. All the dynamic and then all the classes and the clubs we open for that. It's just great. So that's a great community. For Chinese community, we offer a lot of activities for the more senior population too. Dance clubs, mahjong game clubs.
Oh, the mahjong, the Chinese mahjong.
Tai
right?
Chi fan dancing, etc. So it's just places
Well,
for...
and when I went to the center, there you had that fan dancer.
Yeah.
I mean, not a fan dancer like you would see in a
Tai Chi
burlesque,
fan.
but
Yeah, Tai Chi fan
the
dancing.
fan dance.
Yeah, right.
And she was delightful. I mean, she had all the moves. I mean, when I see the gracefulness of the
she
dance.
is. Sandra Blank.
And then you
she
had,
is.
I don't know if you'll do that, but this last time when I was there, they have the kids that do, I don't want to say kung fu, but what do they, I mean, there's so many different ones that,
They are all kung fu, but
Yeah.
different style. I mean, the kung fu master would say we got this Tai and Changquan style or whatever style. I'm not a master of that to know all the styles, but then they play either certain forms or with their weapons.
Yeah.
So
Not real ones,
not real ones, but for performing level wise.
yeah, they're
really entertaining
amazing.
to
And
see.
you're holding a rabbit.
Yes, this is the year of the rabbit, everyone. So January 22nd, the day we're gonna do our Lunar New Year Gala show is the first day of the year of the rabbit. Isn't that fun?
And
So
I'm a rat. What are you?
You're a rat. I'm a dragon.
You're a dragon. Okay.
So you are family-oriented and quick-witted, sense of humor, optimistic. That's your characteristic.
I think they hit it.
Good. That's good. I love it. Yeah.
And I like when you look and they say, well, a dragon shouldn't be with a rat or they've got these
They're
little
the same
thingies.
thing. Yeah.
And my husband was a tiger, and they said, well, the rat and the tiger don't get. And we were like simpatico,
It's just like
Yeah, it's just like
it's just a
astrology and
description.
stuff.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
but it's
yes.
fun. It's
Yeah,
real
is.
good.
It is fun.
And it's a 12 cycle, right? 12-year cycle.
Zodiac animals. Yeah.
Right.
So and then rotating, and rat is the leader. You know that.
I know, it's the top one.
Amazing because
Top one.
the rat
I
is
love
the
to
most
be on
smart
top.
one. Yes, you are.
Yeah, but so they can get tickets to the event, right?
Totally. So people just can go to our main website, www.cccalbany.org. And then right on the homepage, you'll see the Lunar New Year Gala Show. Click, and then you get in.
Yeah, and you can bring kids. If you're a member of the Chinese Community Center, it's one price, and if you're not, it's a little bit more. But believe me, you will get an entire afternoon of the most spectacular entertainment. And not only that, but what you will get is an understanding of the Chinese
Very
culture,
true.
which is so rich. I've been to China. The amount of reverence there is to tradition and to the culture is so palpable. It's there. People are just so, they live it. Yeah.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne. With your deep knowledge of China, I really appreciate you saying.
No, that
you're
is
so
true.
right. You're
Yeah.
so right. It's a glimpse of the Chinese culture from Asian to modern.
Right.
That's my conclusion.
Oh, yeah,
for
and
the
they're very
show.
modern. I've seen some of those outfits they're wearing.
Yes.
And they have those dance clubs. And they
yeah,
have those,
right,
yeah, I
right,
know.
yeah, right.
So, it's not just one thing. It's
No,
the
it's a
whole-
combination. We have 120 performers,
Yeah.
so it's a big show.
It's going to be great. Can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Right, you are in on my list. You know that.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to enjoy having tea at your home.
Totally.
Good.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much for being here, Wei. And here we are. Kate Dudding is here, and Kate is a storyteller. I love her stories. She seems to grab a little bit of a personality and give us a little glimpse of something we didn't know. You've done that with like Julia Child and so many other things. So you're going to give us a story today, but before you do that, we're going to be talking about wordplay.
Sure.
And this is coincidence?
Yes. January 15th, Sunday at 2 p.m. in the DeLac Guild Room above the arcade at Proctors will have 6 tellers sharing 8 stories about coincidence. And some are personal stories. We have at least one historical story and a folk tale, all about how things strangely happen because of coincidence.
Is that what they call serendipity?
Serendipity would be another word. I'll have to write that down on my list of future topics. Even though it's the same, we won't do it next year, we'll do it the year after. Serendipity, yes.
Okay, so how many storytellers will you have there?
We'll have 6, Joe Doolittle, Siri Allison, Marnie Gillard, Beverly Schwartz, Christy Keegan, and myself.
Okay, so you have 6. So when people come to this, you're in the DLAC room, right?
Right.
That's upstairs.
Yes.
So is there that they just sit and enjoy the stories?
Yes.
Do they talk about them afterwards or don't?
Well, they're amongst each other or with the tellers.
Yeah.
There will be an intermission, and storytellers always love to talk about their stories. Not themselves so much. There's a wonderful chemistry that happens when someone is telling a story, someone is listening, and then there's the story between them, and it's not like a teller is an opera singer where the listeners are going, is she going to get that high C? Because the listeners really don't know where you're going. Even if it's a traditional tale, every teller tells their version of a traditional tale.
When we talk about storytelling, I mean, if I tell a story to my kids, it's going to be different every time. But I have the feeling that a storyteller is sort of like the Down East stories. I mean, they are going to be the same no matter who tells them and everything. Is that how this works?
No. Well, in the English tradition, if you're telling a traditional story, you're supposed to tell it the way. But who knows what the way is actually? Because some folk tales are centuries old, and they weren't written down until you could...
Well, they were illiterate, many people.
Right,
yeah.
right. And besides, even when there was the printing press, it depends on who was collecting the story and who the author was, because they often put their own cultural framework on these traditional tales and transformed them. So, for instance, Little Red Riding Hood, the oldest version I found, there was no woodcutter that saved Little Red and Grandma.
Oh, really?
No, Grandma got eaten. Grandma was gone. And
sounds like a country western song.
And Little Red Riding Hood flummoxed the wolf to let her go outside to use the facilities. And she ran away, and she ran down to the river, and there were laundresses there. And she explained her problem. They said, "Oh, we will fix things." And they flung out their sheets, and they became rigid, and she walked across the river.
That really is the story?
And when the wolf came, they said, "Oh, yes, she just went by. We'll help you." They flung their sheets out. He got in the middle of the river, and he went and died. So
that's a good story.
Yeah,
I like that one too.
So, but that was the original.
How did you find the original?
Well, because somebody went far enough back and found a teller who learned it who learned it orally.
Oh, it's almost like the Native Americans.
Yes.
Because theirs was passed down. Did they not have a written language? It seems to me they didn't have a written language, and it was
not initially.
Yeah,
right, I believe.
So that's interesting that you found a story that far back.
Yes, on Google.
Oh, well, anymore you're going to find some.
But you have to check the sources.
Yeah.
It could just be Joe Schmo.
Deciding to make up their own story.
Right, but this was, I think, in a university archive. I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's good. So you're going to tell us a story today.
Yes.
And what is your story today? Is this going to be about a coincidence?
Yes, it is. I thought it should match.
Okay.
To give people an idea.
Okay.
Mama, why do I have to take piano lessons? Ira, you're the oldest. You get to take piano lessons. But Mama, George is only 2 years younger than me. Why can't George take the piano lessons? Ira, are you a sugar crazy? George take piano lessons? George never sits still in the apartment except when he's eating. Otherwise, he's out in the streets, playing hockey, roller skating, stealing food from the push carts, fighting with the Irish or the Italians. George, take piano lessons? You're taking them. Mama, why do we even need a piano? Ira, if my sister's family can afford a piano, the Gershwins can afford a piano. It's coming tomorrow morning. You're taking the lessons. Quit your kvetching, complaining. Yes, Mama. But the next morning, surprisingly, George was in the apartment when the piano was delivered. And as soon as he could get at it, he twirled the piano seat. You remember those piano seats, the round wooden seats that were on a threaded rod? Well, he expertly twirled it to just the right height for him. He sat down and he played a song. It wasn't Chopsticks. It wasn't Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. No, it was a ragtime piece, and he played it just like they did in vaudeville, with a lightning-fast left hand and intricate harmonies and rhythms. When he finished, everyone said, George, how did you learn to play the piano? Oh, a friend of mine around the corner has had a piano for a couple of months. I've been hanging out there and fooling around with it. Mama, can George take the piano lessons now instead of me? No, Ira, both of you will be taking piano lessons. But by the time Ira finished his first piano book, it was clear to everyone, even Mama, that his talent did not lie there. But Ira did play music. His instrument of choice was the Victrola, a wind-up record player. His favorite records were the operettas by Victor Herbert. He loved the wonderful music and the clever lyrics. So Ira started playing with words. When they were adults, George and Ira collaborated almost exclusively with each other between 1924 and 1937. Those were the last 13 years of George's life. He tragically died of a brain tumor when he was only 38. But in that 13-year period, they composed over 24 scores for Broadway musicals and Hollywood films. Plus, they created the folk opera Porgy and Bess. Now, I'm wondering if Mama hadn't insisted that the Gershwins needed a piano, I'm wondering if George would ever have gotten piano lessons. I'm wondering what would have happened to that street kid that George had been if he hadn't had music in which to pour all of his energy.
It's a wonderful story. What I want to know is, how did you find that?
I have 3 biographies on George Gershwin, and I grew up, my mother adored Gershwin. Gershwin died 13 years before I was born, yeah. But he was present in her life. And I can't tell you how many times she told me, imagine what George would have composed if he hadn't died at 38. He was planning to create a symphony. The man who gave us An American in Paris and Rhapsody, what would his symphonies have sounded like? So I wanted to find out more about him. And
yeah. So your mother was the one that kind of
yes.
spiked that in you.
Right, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. And yes, coincidence, it does work there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you I was trying to see how that all cut, but it does. It comes if she hadn't gotten that piano because her sister had one.
Exactly. His sibling rivalry. Who knew it had such a
So maybe it was the sister that...
yeah, right? And that there was a friend of George's that had gotten a piano. And
yeah, would that talent have ever come out? It makes me kind of wonder a little bit more about talents that go undiscovered.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or kind of repressed. Mm-hmm. Because the mother could have said, I don't want any music in this house. This is driving me crazy. You make too much noise. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
But she knew. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Ira, he was a lyricist.
Yes.
Lyricist.
Yes.
I say that right. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to say that. So we've got an event coming up, and now you also do, I know you do word plays, but you also do other events. So let's talk about how someone who is thinking maybe they'd like to tell a story or learn how to do one, what do they do?
Okay, if they'd like to tell a story, up at Cafe Lena on the first Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m., there's storytelling night. And it starts with a 30-minute set by a featured teller. And then the rest of the 90 minutes is for an open mic. And people can tell a story up to 10 minutes in length.
Oh, okay.
And it's assumed that you're not going to be telling a polished story. You're trying out a story.
Okay.
And newcomers are very much welcomed up there.
Okay.
And the price is $5.
For an evening? Are you kidding?
Yes.
Not only that, but you get an entertainment for the entire evening because people are telling stories.
And of course, they have food at Cafe Lena.
Yep.
And wine and beer.
Oh, I didn't know they had
Yes,
wine and beer now.
yes, they have wine and beer
Used to be
now.
coffee house.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Yes. But no, they have that kind of liquor.
And it's a
license.
delightful setting.
Oh, and it's since Cafe Lena got its, I think of it as a facelift. The old lady got a facelift. And
Yeah.
boy,
Lena, yeah.
yeah, and boy, it's a big rectangular room now, and
It's spread out because now the stage is there in the corner.
Right,
And you can everybody
It
sees
used to
the
be
stage.
an awkward kind of
Awkward, very
L-shape,
awkward.
and, And so yeah, the audience it's very nice to tell. I was the featured teller in January, and so it's very nice. And they do if the weather is bad and you want to hear the featured teller, well, that is live stream again for the extraordinary price of $5.
Okay.
So
that you can still do it even if you're not there to
Right.
be able to get there. Parking is usually pretty easy. I don't ever remember
on
having a
Tuesday
problem.
night the restaurants are closed.
Okay, so there's
So
plenty.
August, of course, is August.
Yeah.
But other than that,
August is August. It is. It's the August place to be, right?
Right.
So you do word plays, and of course you do other stories. And I like the idea that you've mentioned about the Cafe Lena.
Mm-hmm.
This is really perfect.
And we have monthly meetings now on the third Wednesday of every month at the Pine Hills Branch Library of Albany Public Library from 6 to 7:45, where people can share a work in progress. No notes, and they can get as much or as little feedback as they want. Sometimes with the new
So
story.
if I were to have a story, I'm saying if I
Yeah.
were to attend and I had a story that I really liked and I kind of polished it and I think it sounds good,
Yeah.
but maybe it needs tweaking.
Right. You could come and first you get to, would you like to hear appreciations, which is the nice stuff. And people say, oh, I love the way you did the different voices, or, oh, the ending was such a surprise. And then the person who told has the option of asking for suggestions or where they had problems.
Mm-hmm.
Problems first, and then suggestions. People, I tell people, oh, here's what I think, but this is my 5-second analysis. So, take if it makes sense to you, take it, but you can ignore it.
So if you want to hear more about storytelling, you need to go to the word plays, which is going to be at Proctors, and it will be on Sunday at 2:00, I believe.
Yes.
And that's on the 15th. So get a ticket and go and enjoy the wonderful storytelling that goes on. Thanks so much. And I loved your story about George and Ira.
Okay.
And the mom.
And the mom, mama, yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks. We're going to switch over to Amy here. And Amy is going to tell us about soup.
Yes.
I love soup.
I do too.
My
And
favorite.
it's one of the best events we have here in Schenectady, as shown by the 3,500 plus people that come down every
They
year for
really
it.
love that. And the fact is you can try so many different ones.
Yeah, more than 25 restaurants this year, so it's a great way to not only try a lot of different soups.
Wow, how many restaurants?
More than 25.
Get out.
So a lot of soup. So come hungry.
25.
Over 25. Right now we're at 26, but there's always one or two that like to come.
So
to us.
what happens? So you're going to get a card with all the things so that you can vote, right?
Yeah, so there'll be a map, and you can pick those up at the restaurants, or you can print them out at our website at downtownschenectady.org.
Okay.
And you don't have to use a map. It's different than a wing walk where it's ticketed. This is come and go as you please. But you can pick up.
And they're all in the downtown area, or do
Yes.
they have to go anywhere
Nope,
else?
it's all in downtown Schenectady. Very
There's
walkable.
that many
Parking is-
restaurants. Oh my.
I know. Everyone loves to do soup, and parking's free since it's on a Saturday. So come and park and stroll around downtown and try a lot.
So I know every time you come up with these titles of soups that are amazing.
Yes.
So what do you got coming up?
We have
or not you personally.
Right. I'm not the chef here, but we have a bangers and mash soup from Katie.
Bangers and mash. That's sausages that pop.
Good Irish.
When you cook them.
A very good Irish soup. Villa Italia will be participating for the first time and doing a dessert soup. We have our first
dessert soup.
Yep, we don't know what's in it. They're going to keep that one to themselves, so you'll have to come out.
Well,
on 28th
I think that one you go to last.
Yes. You'll have to do Bittersweet Candy's participating with a chocolate peppermint soup, so you'll have to hit both of those at the end.
Get out,
Yeah.
chocolate
It'll be
peppermint.
good. We have quite a wide variety. We're doing the first ramen this year. There's a chicken soba ramen
I
from
love ramen.
Manhattan Exchange.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. And they're 3-ounce samples, so you can definitely hit, as many restaurants as you want.
Well, the nice part is that you're walking.
Yes.
So you're kind of burning off a few of those calories between restaurants, which is great, but it's so reasonable. I mean, think about it. There's 26 restaurants and you hit every one, it only costs you $26 for the entire afternoon.
Yes, and that's going to fill you up for the whole afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's 11 to
And
4.
more. And more.
Yes. And people typically tend to stop at one of the restaurants, have a drink, chat with some friends, and then move on to the next one. So it's like a nice, very casual stroll of an afternoon.
So we have they have the dessert. What other ones do they have? I'm just looking at some, because sometimes you get the cheddars and the stuff.
Yeah, we have like a lot of different cuisines. So there's a rustic Italian tortilla soup that Johnny's will be doing. There's a pasta visual. There's a General Tso's stew. So we have stews.
Is
chowders,
Mexican Radio
broths.
participating?
Yes, Mexican Radio is doing an elote corn and sweet potato
Oh,
chowder.
that sounds really good.
Delicious.
Now, assuming that I've tried this sweet potato soup or something and I really like it, can I buy some?
Some restaurants do allow you to take home some. Typically,
So you
it's
could buy
more
a
towards
pint
the
if you had
end.
to.
Yes, and there's a few restaurants that will offer it on their menu the week after, depending on how well received
How successful
it is.
it
from people. Yes.
So what is the good part of winning this?
Yeah, they get an award. They get the recognition. It's great to go to these restaurants year after year and see those awards stack up. You go to 20 North and you see their Wing Walk awards. You go to the Nest and you see their Soup Stroll awards. So it's wonderful to go in and see like the pride that they have with winning, the best soup. So we have judges, but we also have the People's Choice, and that's where you're going to see 4 ballot boxes around downtown. Those will be marked on the map as well.
Okay.
And we do need them to visit at least 10 restaurants, have that checked off before they
Yeah,
vote.
you don't want to go to one and say it's good and that's it.
Right, because
Yeah.
there are some restaurants that, they have that cult type following and we want to make it as fair as possible. So we check every ballot to make sure that it does hit, that it's not.
That they've been to at
biggest-
least
yeah.
10 places. Is Bountiful Bread? I mean, they're
Yes,
brand new
so
down
Bountiful
there.
Bread is new. They're doing a roasted red pepper and smoked Gouda.
Oh, that sounds good
So
too.
it's- and their soup's always fantastic. So that'll be
Yeah, they
wonderful.
have good.
And some people will get more samples than just one at a restaurant. So if you really like one, absolutely you can buy another sample. It's not just one and done.
Yeah, it's really a great way, number one, for restaurants and chefs to stretch their legs a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, because you see restaurants that don't typically do soup, and it's also like Stella's Pasta Bar and Bistro is participating. They're new. They're
brand
opened
new, yeah.
a few months ago.
Yeah.
Simone's Kitchen that opened last summer will be participating. So it's great to have restaurants that are new. But then you see someone like Villa Italia that's been in downtown for decades, and they're participating for the first time. So it's just
That's
wonderful
well
to have
because
that.
you don't think of them as a soup place,
Right.
because it's basically fabulous desserts.
Yes. Yeah, so you're probably going to want to bring a few pastries home with you after you have the soup.
Do you have any on J Street? Are they going to? Does that stretch over? See, I know it's the downtown area. Does it stretch over to J Street?
Yeah, so the Little Italy area, yes, you'll have Cornell's,
Cornell's.
More Parecas, and
Civitellas.
Civitellas will all be participating, and Hunters on J. So
Okay.
all 4 of them are participating, and they usually get a pretty big crowd. A lot of people do stay at Hunters, have a few drinks for the evening.
Yeah.
as
So
well,
it's really a nice way to learn. If you're not from Schenectady, do this because you will get to walk the streets.
Yeah, it's so
and
walkable. It's
it's
so
so
easy. I think
walkable.
people tend to get nervous, but it's just a few blocks. It takes only a few minutes to kind of get through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's
And
wonderful.
are kids welcome?
Yeah, people of all ages. There's no age limit. There's no alcohol in any of the soups. So
No. Well,
good. We have
unless you put it in
right.
yourself.
If you want to bring your own, but we're not responsible for that. And then there's gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian options as well, and all of that is listed on our website as well as on the map. So you have something for everyone.
That's great. I know that you've been doing a lot. You have the wing walk and you have the the soup stroll. You've been very creative in many of the things. Do you have anything you want to give us an idea of what's coming up besides this?
In February, we're bringing back Restaurant Week, and we will have,
I knew that. You're coming on the show about that.
We'll have a lunch and dinner option. We're talking about a new food event that would come up in May. We just have to get some approvals from some of the restaurants, but that would be a new exciting type of walkable food event as well, because everyone loves it. It's great to just carry a couple bucks, walk around, go with friends. You can all try different things and share, and we're looking to kind of grow that.
I have to tell you just a quick story. You'll have to bear with me. So I have a relative that lives in Aiken, Georgia. Or Aiken, no, I'm sorry, South Carolina. I forget those states all mixed up. But anyway, she lives down there. So I'm telling her about the soup stroll because she gets my newsletter, so she knows what's going on. And she asked me about it. And she said, you know what? How about Aiken for soup?
That's very clever. See, now they're going to start doing the soup stroll.
She
and
said
that's
she's going to
exciting.
talk to the Chamber of
I
Commerce.
think it's brilliant. And we love to see these types of events grow.
I said, I'm Aiken for chocolate. I didn't know about soup.
Maybe they'll do it. They can just make it a whole series of
Yeah.
different types of food.
Isn't that funny though? I mean, that we were able to do that. So but you do a lot of events, summer events, you get involved with summer events coming up, you know, and you're a staunch supporter of the downtown area. You take care of the plants in the spring.
The plants, the banners, hometown hero banners, those will come back in May to honor our veterans and active duty service people.
Yeah, and that's really nice to see that as well. And that's, of course, on their website as well. They show that there.
Yes. We'll start that application process the end of January, beginning of February. And then we kind of go into the fall and we look at our fall spooktacular event. We had over 5,000
The spooktacular is
people
amazing. Yeah.
Last year, we were just completely overwhelmed and blown away with the support for the event.
so
So we're
much.
excited to bring them back.
So if you want to learn about what's going on in the area, you have a website.
Yes, downtownschenectady.org.
Yes, check it out. And if you're visiting or you have friends coming in, don't sit there and wonder, what should we do? Just take a look, go to that site because it does have even the Proctor shows and
Yep,
many of the
everything
things.
going around, and we also do a weekly newsletter, and that lists everything going around downtown, from entertainment at the bars and restaurants to things going on at Proctors, Slock, Civic Players, Mopco, restaurant specials.
Exactly. So check it out because they're really an advocate of the community in Schenectady and what's going on. There's always something to do. So if you're involved with Union College and you're bringing in people from Union College,
Yeah,
you know what to do.
absolutely.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
You as well.
I'm looking for that soup.
Yes, we'll see you on the 28th.
Those dessert soups.
You'll probably want to save room to have a couple.
I'm working on that one. We're going to be switching over here to the Schenectady County Historical Society. Hi, so good to see you guys. Mary and Michael are with us today, and you're doing speaker series. You do a phenomenal job with the speaker series, number
you.
one. So this is your winter series?
Yeah, we do this every winter, roughly January through April.
You can't howl at the moon right now.
You can't really do too much farming. For
Well,
us
you can.
that
It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be very fun or interesting.
You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we present this series every year, and we're always amazed at how many people out there in the world, really, in other countries, are researching this region.
Well, because it's a Dutch settlement. I mean, it was.
It's part of that, but it's just there's so much interesting history. We have a speaker who's going to be talking about industrial policy, so that's kind of more in line with the 20th century history. We have a gentleman who is from Georgetown University presenting his research on slavery in this area.
And you can do that because it's Zoom.
Exactly, yeah, right.
It's amazing what the pandemic has done for us because I don't think we thought about doing Zoom things until the pandemic, and now we realize you can reach out across the world.
Yeah, that's true. I think this year it's about 50-50 Zoom lectures, and then in person we have a few in-person speakers as well, researchers who live a little bit closer to Schenectady.
Yeah, and I like the idea of that, and the idea of bringing in people from outside the area. When you mention about the world, in a sense, it's kind of interesting because when we were in China, you mentioned Schenectady, and they go, Edison.
Wow.
It was like, really?
Wow,
I mean,
yeah.
it was like that was the first thing they connected, and they knew about us.
Yeah. Well, I think that when you live here, you just start to take this place for granted. But if you are from somewhere else, you can really appreciate much better what a cool place this is.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And it's funny because they said, I don't know, something was coming up, and they go, oh, well, it's Schenectady. I said, they have to come from somewhere. You know, just because they're from your hometown, it doesn't mean that they aren't phenomenal, you know.
Right.
So, yeah. So you've got that. Now, what's happening at the Maybe Farm? Because you do have your educational center there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fun kind of winter programs. The next one coming up is something I'm very eager for, is we're having a Colonial Ice Cream Parlor. It's going to be at the end of the month. So,
What? Say that again.
Colonial Ice Cream Parlor. So you might not
You mean
expect...
I got to do this to get the ice cream?
No, you don't have to do that. We don't have any cows. We're not going to make you go milk a goat, girl. But we'll have the milk and the cream ready to go. But we'll make the ice cream the Colonial way, which involves a lot of churning. It's a lot of churning. It's a lot of work. I'd have to do some.
You put the ice and the salt, and then you do. Isn't it?
Yeah, you got a central container. That's where you put your ingredients, right? All your creams, all
your cream and your
flavoring, whatever you want.
Eggs, and if they use eggs, you know, whatever they put in there.
That's the French style. We're not going to do that.
You're not doing the French style.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother ball of yarn. Well, and then surrounding that in kind of a larger tub, you want to put your ice. You want to salt that ice so it gets colder. And then really you just stir it, churn it, you just stir it and stir it and stir it. And
you got to take turns. I mean, that's what they did in the 1900s. Everybody took turns in the family churning.
Yeah, we're probably going to take several turns because it's going to take, that's what I've discovered. It just takes that long. So we will guarantee that anyone who comes to our parlor will get ice cream. We'll have that, you know, guaranteed.
Even if you got stewards in the back?
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a backup that I made in the back, so it's still authentic.
Well, don't reveal all of our secrets.
Well, yeah, you're right. This is the inside baseball, folks.
So is this just going to be vanilla or what? Or are you going to have some flavors? Or how many churns do you have?
Well, we've only got the one churn.
Okay.
So you know, we're gonna start with the vanilla. If we have extra time, if we got extra, you know, enthusiasm, maybe we could do a second batch. We'll see.
That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
And
when are you doing that?
Go ahead.
Oh, that's at the end of the month. I believe it's the 28th. It's the last Saturday. It's the last Saturday of January.
In January?
In January, yep. So you can sign up now, and tickets are going. So
that's a great idea. I mean, we need more of that, like throwback, it makes people realize how easy it is to grab a package of.
And how fun, and it tastes good, and it tastes good because you made it.
It does. I have to say this. I've had churned ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes a lot richer.
It sure does.
Than what you buy. Now, I don't know whether they use more cream in that or what, but whatever it is, it tastes a lot different.
Yeah, and that's just January. We've got our next full moon walk coming up in February.
Yeah, this has been a very popular event.
Full moon walk.
Yeah, we're hosting. We have some nature trails at the Maybe Farm, right on the banks of the Mohawk.
Goes down to the river.
Yeah, we have a little beach there, and on the full moon, we've just been inviting people out to either snowshoe or hike. And we light the trails with
They won't be using snowshoes right now.
No, we light the trails with some votives, and it's just a nice way to get people outside in the evening. But actually, this is very exciting. At the Maybe House, we actually installed a working fireplace.
It's working now?
Yeah.
It wasn't before.
No, it hasn't worked for probably a century, but it's exciting because
a century, give or take.
Yeah, we can now have fires in that fireplace. So for these winter programs, people are really enjoying coming inside to the historic house, the 1705 house, warming up, having some cider, maybe something a little bit stronger, and just enjoying that historic and really kind of cozy nature.
What did it take to start the fireplace? I mean, why wasn't the fireplace working?
We had to rebuild it completely.
Oh, so you need a new chimney.
All of it is brand
new. The
new.
whole thing kind of collapsed on us. That was about a year ago, and
Was it workable before that?
No, it hadn't been functional in a long time.
Yeah. And one of the interesting, she's talking about the fireplace, but the mantle was one that, there's a history behind the mantle too, being sent to what museum?
Oh, the Met, yes. Yep, that's a different mantle, but yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's a different one.
We have so many fireplaces.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm
I
just,
know. I know. But so at the Maybe Farm, we'll have a lot of outdoor and indoor cozy events with a lot of food, a lot of drink. And then for folks who want to engage with a little bit more of the intellectual history, we have this huge range of speaker programs that we're so excited about all throughout the winter, continuing up until the end of April.
Mm-hmm. Sound like you're really working at a lot of things. Now, what's going on at the museum? Because I know you had the holiday trees, and then you had before that, I believe you had the clothing.
Right,
exhibit.
yes, so we'll have
So
a new
what's
exhibit.
coming up
A new
next?
exhibit will open a little bit later this year, and we'll have more information about
Okay,
that.
you don't have that scheduled yet.
Right, well, not the exact date. yet.
Okay, and they've just done their library over. So tell me about your library.
Yeah, that was a huge deal for us. We were pretty much at capacity for storing archival objects as well as our paintings. And thanks to some generous funding, we were able to put compact shelving in, which means we can continue to collect items that are important to Schenectady's history for a long time in the future. And we're having an open house for that on January 18th.
Now we're talking, when I say the library, you're talking a lot about the genealogy and history of Schenectady, is that correct?
Yeah, we have genealogy, we also have local history, and then some broader New York State history as well.
Because I have to tell you, I went in there to do some research on my family, and my funniest story is I'm looking and it said the family name and it said LAB after it. And the next one was the family name LAB, and I didn't know they worked in labs.
Yeah.
Then it dawned on me, laborer.
Right.
It was like, here I'm thinking,
Yeah.
gee, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to that. So when you start looking at the history, there's more to it than just looking at names, because the little codes that they have in there were not what we're used to sometimes.
Yeah, there's
Oh, yeah.
all kinds of interesting things you can figure out about your house, for example, when it was built, who lived there, what the occupations were of the former residents.
The occupations are interesting.
It tells you a lot about the demographics
Yeah.
and how they changed over time.
And I see that most of my family were mercantile. They made gloves,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and they did, they were tailor,
right.
they were barbers.
Yeah,
they,
in the city itself, a high percentage of people had that kind of craft background.
because there were little businesses,
a lot of little businesses.
and every
right.
neighborhood had their own businesses.
Right, a lot of little
So-
businesses, yeah.
When you looked at Mount Pleasant, it had their own little neighborhood. The Crane Street had their little neighborhood. Bellevue had their little neighborhood.
Right, and then all the services. Every neighborhood has a church, a theater, different
Yeah, they had a
bars and
movie theater,
restaurants.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because Crane Street had a movie theater,
A lot
and
of
then
movie
Colony did, and so when we looked at our history, I think we're looking at not the city of Schenectady, but we're looking at neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods were vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a movie. I showed a movie on the neighborhoods that disappeared, which I'm sure you know about, the one over in Albany,
Right.
when they built the big, center,
Yeah, but the
Rockefeller.
same thing happened on a smaller scale in Schenectady as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the downtown today. A lot of those buildings were built in the 20th century. What would have that have looked like, let's say in 1860?
Yeah.
It would have been,
With
houses.
water,
It would
with
have been
water.
houses.
Yeah.
Because they had the Erie Canal.
That's also true, yeah, so.
A lot of
Definitely.
neighborhoods moved for urban renewal projects, which may or may not have succeeded. That's a whole debate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I know that my mother used to tell me that my grandfather, they used to carry their trash. Is this true or not? I mean, correct me. They used to carry their trash and dump it into the Erie Canal when they were
Absolutely.
filling it.
Yeah, that's why they had to fill it, because people kept putting trash or waste or even dead animals.
I mean, the whole idea of a garbage company coming with a truck and taking your trash away is like 100 years old. So what do you think people did for the 200 years before that?
Yeah,
Well,
we
they
did-
said that, maybe she was wrong, but she said that because they had to fill it.
Right.
They
right.
encouraged people to do that
Mhm.
so that they could. Yeah, they buried their trash, did they, in the backyard, or burned it?
Bury it, throw it in the river, whatever is easiest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of it. We're still dealing with it, aren't we?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Except now we're dealing with plastics, which is even worse.
Right.
Who wants plastic? So anyway, so tell me about the speaker series. How do people get involved into listening to these?
Great question. So it's a huge benefit for our members. Memberships start at just $25, and if you're a member, you can access all of these for free.
And get a night
You
newsletter.
get a newsletter, and you also get access to our walking tours, which will start in the warmer months.
I love your walking tours.
Oh, yeah, I love them too.
So
That's why I
it
keep
is,
doing them.
it is a major benefit to our members. So of course I encourage people. And then if you're a member, you just get these links for free. You get reminders. And then you just log on there on
Yeah,
Zoom.
yeah.
And you're supporting our mission too.
Yeah, and if you're not a member, you can go on our website, schenectadyhistorical.org, and you can sign up for a ticket right there.
Yeah. You're doing some great stuff, and history is so important. Oh my
is.
gosh. I just wish people would embrace it more. It's like, they blow that off. No, that's what you learn from.
Right.
And I know you're a historian.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Yeah.
It says that on my business card and everything.
Oh, you guys are great. You really need
Thank
to
you
do
for having us.
to keep us going. Yes, and thank you so much for everything that you do in our community and for all the seasons. You've got something going on. Howling at the Moon. I mean, there's something. This is an industry over here. You gotta.
Well, we'll be back, I'm sure, at some point to talk about everything else.
I know you will. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being here, both of you. I want to tell you what's coming up. Well, first of all, I'd like to review our guests that we did have today. We did have the musicians of Malwick on, and we talked about their events that were coming up. We talked about the Chinese Community Center and their event that's coming up. We talked about Story Circle. We talked about the Soup Stroll that's coming up as well, and the Schenectady Historical. Now, what's coming up on our next show, we have an author on. Now, you've probably heard of Phil Bale. He's been on TV. He's been a news person. I guess I don't want to get sexist here. Now he's written books. This is the fourth in his series. We'll be talking about Which Window. We're going to be talking about Children at the Well. This is a very interesting organization where they have the youth that will come out and tell their stories. As in the past, when people got at the well, that's when they did their talking. So we'll be talking about that. We also have a very interesting woman coming on from, she's Iranian, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in Iran, I want to say that right. Then we're talking about Final Exit and Compassionate Choices. So we've got a great lineup coming up, and we want to encourage you all to come. And I want to wish you all a very happy Chinese New Year. That's the Lunar New Year coming up. If you can possibly get to the event at SUNY, you're going to enjoy it and have a wonderful time. I'm Ann Pearl, your host for Capital Region today. And check us out. We have a website, and we also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'm Ann Pearl. Thanks for watching.